We were talking about feedback loops and the need for feedback loops. This is well known in control theory. Amplifiers say that have very, very tight feedback loops, billionth of a second feedback loops, sound very differently than, say, an amplifier that has a microsecond, millionth of a second. It's 1,000 times faster. And I suppose that is sort of my little problem with a lot of these subdisciplines, subsets of learning that go by these trademarky names, and they're being promoted through sort of specific channels of fans. They kind of have their fan base, and then they have their celebrities, as much as one can be a celebrity within some kind of little small subset of a subset of a subset of some kind of training discipline or learning discipline. I don't know if things were like this in the pre-Socratic days in Greece or not, or what. But, well, what can I say? There's a bunch of political spoofers out there. They're very funny. They're these two guys, and I think the little movement has enlarged somewhat. They're called the Yes Men. And what they do is they impersonate corporate flacks, and they hold press conferences in the name of companies who they are doing a very deep social critique of, and they will then have press conferences where that company confesses to something or is in agreement with a policy that it's been completely in disagreement with, or comes around to seeing another point of view that it has been resisting for a long time. And these guys are really, really funny. I think their movie is coming out. You can get DVDs, things like that. I've seen some of their stuff on YouTube, and they are hilarious. They are hilarious in the fact that they are able to gull the media. Convince the media that they are speaking for these very large, powerful, impenetrable power structures, and make complete I wouldn't say fools, but they make a complete joke of their positions, and they do it very straight-faced. They've got a wonderful sort of almost a Buster Keaton-ish deadpan way of delivering their flackness, and they've mastered this the persona of the flack, the yes man. And on the other side of the equation, the yes man phenomenon, yes people, are a real problem, and I would say even a danger for those in position of authority or leadership. They get surrounded by concentric layers of people who know what they want to hear. They have a very good sort of feeling for their psychology, and they just act as psychological mirrors. They just repeat back to them what they want to hear. This problem, I think, the kind of the yes man culture is very endemic in New Age, human potential, growth and development type seminar culture, where everybody's kind of arranged the system so they just hear from the people that they want to hear from, that tell them the message they want to hear, and weaken, dismiss, degrade, filter out things that really need to be heard and really need to be understood. And in some ways, in some cases, the unconscious mind can become sort of one's own personal yes man. I think there was Johnny Cash said, I will be your personal Jesus. I think sometimes your unconscious mind is kind of like your personal Jesus, and sometimes your unconscious mind is like your own personal yes man, like your own personal PR department, and you end up falling for your own lines. And way, way, way too many people, I think, in media, in the politics, in transformational stuff, have long ago fallen for their own lines. And what they need to do is they need to kind of wise up to the whole system is sort of hustling itself, and they're being hustled by their own rap, and people are just repeating back their own rap to them. And so it just becomes a sort of meta hustle. And that's the same kind of shtick that goes on in the media all the time, in the controlling the spin. Wonderful vestibular term, by the way. Phenomenal if you pay attention to vestibular language. The idea of the spin, and how the spin is a powerful alteration of reality. And if you've ever had dreams, like very, very deep vestibular dreams that involve profound shifts and spinnings and changes in relation to gravity, and you'll know how those are usually very transformative, very unsettling, reality-shifting shamanic dreams do involve a lot of vestibular data. So I suppose, like the yes man culture involves some kind of like freezing or immobility of the vestibular system. But if you're going to really get from point A to point B, you're going to get out there and get things to work, you've got to have the cleanest, fastest, most lightly filtered, and from every imaginable point of view, feedback coming into yourself. And all these people who are promoting NLP seminars and things like that seem to have very, very little feedback or very little willingness to address it or very little willingness to really adjust accordingly. And that's, I think, how disciplines, and even serious big academic disciplines like, philosophy departments, end up just freezing in this glacier of their own repetitive raps that are just sort of in these echo chambers of repetitive raps. So I would say my first piece of advice is get rid of the yes men, and change your unconscious from your yes man basically to your means sort of going out there and picking up all the messages that sort of unbalance you and shake you up a little bit and make you a little uncomfortable with your self-image. Those are the things you want your unconscious to kind of be capturing and presenting to you in useful ways, not just this kind of belly-rubbing simple loop of repetition of regurgitative blather, which is what most people like to hear and prefer to believe is the way things are, just a comfortable kind of musical patter, elevator music for the mind, And surely we can do better, and we must do better.